Let's check in with our friend Charles Davis, who's going to call, I believe, Carolina Panthers against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this is it's going to be yeoman's work because who's going to be the quarterback for the Carolina? Derek Anderson is out, so who's going to be quarterback for the Carolina Panthers?
Great question, Doug. Happy holiday season to you. I hope it's been going well for you and your family. But, I know that Cam Newton was listed as questionable today. So until further notice, I'm still going with Cam, and then I'll just wait and see.
All right, so who's their – I don't even know who their number 3 is. I'm sure you do. Who's their number 3?
I would imagine it'd be Joe Webb, who also plays wide receiver for us. He's a stock of, jack of all trades. And so I would assume he would be the number 3 guy if indeed it got to that. Last week we had their game against Atlanta, and he played a decent amount of wide receiver when Devin Funchess got hurt. So that would be my expectation. We'll wait and see what Sunday presents us.
What's gone so wrong with this team? I mean, Kuechly's concussion is obviously devastating to their defense. But look, they got off to a 1-5 start. By your estimation, what went so wrong?
I still say offensive line is the starting point for me. I know everyone pointed to the Super Bowl where it was really tough to block Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware and Shane Ray and the rest of that group. But remember, that team went 15-1 last year. And the more I look back on it, watching them go 15-1 with Michael Orr at left tackle, Mike Remmers at right tackle, who struggled mightily in the Super Bowl, that told me that was a team that knew how to get off to good starts, play from the front. We always talk about Peyton Manning in Indianapolis playing with a 14-0 lead. That Carolina team did that a lot last year, and that allowed them to run the football and not worry about heavy-duty pass rushers. Well, against Denver, it didn't work out that way. And here came the pass rushers, and it really got to them. And it's been an offensive line shuffle for them all year long. Trey Turner went to the Pro Bowl last year. Doug at guard had to play a lot of right tackle. Remmers had to shift from right tackle to left tackle when Orr left with a concussion that missed most of the year. I think they've got to get going there. I also think they need more weapons out wide. Kelvin Benjamin didn't have the year that was expected out wide. Devin Funchess caught 23 passes all year long before being put on IR this year. Greg Olsen continues to be an absolute marvel at tight end. 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons, but he's their number 1 option. They've got to get him some help. Ted Ginn's a speed guy. We know what he presents. But I think overall they've got to get more help there, and I think they've got to start looking at supplementing running backs to help out Jonathan Stewart. So it all started for me up front, though. I know they went 15-1, but it was a different 15-1 when you have to play from behind with that crew versus playing from the front.
And none of these quarterbacks are going to be healthy if they don't have a clean pocket.
No.
And so it's what every quarterback or every offensive any NFL guy will tell you about Dak Prescott. Look, Dak is way better than we thought he'd be, but put me behind that line and I'll be pretty good. I'll be pretty good at going through it. On the other hand, Cam hasn't always had great fundamentals, and you could make he gets away with stuff just because of arm talent and size and toughness. He's improved some, but there was some regression this year. How problematic is cleaning up his quarterback fundamentals at this stage in his career?
Oh, it's very problematic, and the reason being is that you get set in your ways, you get set in doing things a certain way, and I was talking about it today with a quarterback guru, and the older you get, the more you've done it. So many other, you've done it the other way as you're trying to correct and fix things. It's hard to do. Look, we tried to do it with young quarterbacks. You're trying to do it with kids out of college, and it's a hard task, let alone going on. But it's something that has to happen for him because the older you get, the gifts of your legs, they start to decline a little bit. He'll have to play more from the pocket than he has in the past, and that'll be a big, big deal. And cleaning up those mechanics will be huge in order to get rid of the football faster, to not take as many hits, in order to be more accurate with the football. 5 of his last 6 games have been below 50% throwing the ball. Again, I don't throw it all on him, but mechanically, there's some things that have to change. Look, Doug, he is gifted with athletic talent that I could only imagine having, but you can't continually in the NFL get away with throwing off the back foot, flicking it, and the ball getting there and being an accurate throw. You can do it so occasionally, but you can't make a steady diet of it.
But does he have? But the question becomes, Charles, does he? Does he know these are issues? I mean, because they're
listen. He knows. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. He's a very intelligent young man. He knows all of this. The key is going to be, will he work as hard to address it as knowing it? And and I'm not saying, that he won't. I'm just saying that's what the task is for him. Everyone's bringing up, look, his own coach said they have to evolve, and he has to evolve as a quarterback. So it's up to him. We'll find out starting this offseason if he wants to put that kind of time in, because if he does, he'll do it. And if he does not, he'll continue to have some of the issues we're seeing now with accuracy.
Charles Davis joining us from Fox Sports, Doug Gottlieb Show, CBS Sports Radio. All right, let's go to the Buccaneers. Jameis Winston had some moments in that Cowboys game where maybe he was a little bit too hyped up. His own kind of fundamentals broke down. But I know you've watched a season of tape. What are your thoughts on the status of Jameis Winston at this point in his young career?
Oh, I think he's coming along really well. I know that we can look at certain things and go, okay, let's clean that up. And you can make, I'm not going to call it excuses. You can rely back on him being a college baseball player, not having full spring practices, all that stuff. Well, he'll work at it. No one's going to work harder than Jameis Winston. In fact, I was at practice today. Who was the one of the few players still on the field when practice is over? Jameis Winston. It's a daily thing with him. He works at it. For him, it's having to be, and this is a quote that Cam Newton used with us last week when he assessed his own play. But I think it applies to Jameis. And Cam's quote was, I have to be a little bit less Russell Westbrook and more Magic Johnson in playing quarterback. Take the check downs, let other guys do the work. Don't feel that you have to be spectacular on every single play and make the huge play each time. Because I think that's what Jameis wants to do. And it's understandable. He did it in high school. He did it at Florida State. A little bit less of that. In other words, take the 5 to 10 yard pass. Don't wait for the 20 to 30 or try and force that and turn it into errors. He cuts those out, and we're talking about one of the top 5 to 7 quarterbacks in the game.
Charles Davis joining us in the Doug Gottlieb Show, CBS Sports Radio. Speaking of Dak, how would you handle this weekend if you're the Cowboys?
I play it as normally as I would with anyone else who's clearly my number one quarterback. In other words, if the plan is to go ahead and give him a couple series, fine, give him a couple series and get him the heck out of there. If it's to not let him play at all because I want him in bubble wrap until the playoffs, do that. But make it very clear to everyone from the outside looking in, this is our quarterback. He's going to carry us through the playoffs. And if you want to get Tony Romo some plays to knock off the rust, cool. But just make sure everybody knows, I don't care if Tony Romo throws 8 touchdown passes in this game. He's not starting in the next game. But that's the issue with Dallas in a sense, being definitive about Dak Prescott being their quarterback. Because if roles were reversed, that's what they would do. Dak would get a lot of time now, and Tony would probably sit, and they'd say, yeah, it doesn't matter what he does. That's our quarterback. Well, they need to do that for Dak as well.